Welcome Libra, it's your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 26th of February for the Sun or the Ascendant. After quite a few years when there has been a real focus on the emotional dimension of your situation, at the present time with Venus your ruler, your gorgeous ruler, and Mars in your 5th house, that's very much about joyfulness and fun. Late last week, Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, linked in a right angle to Venus. Now these are the two planets of fortune, but because Venus is in your 5th house of romance, but also just wanting to be in the moment and feel adored or have great fun, it's not a great aspect when it comes to limiting ourselves and keeping a foot on terra firma. It's very much about going over the top a little bit. And if there is somebody that you're strongly drawn to at the present time, they could prove to be rather irresistible. Then again, because the 5th house where Venus is also where Mars is, if you recall, they reached a peak in their own conjunction last week. Mars in the 5th house is much more to do with risk, chance, being speculative. Mars is a fast-moving energy, it's assertive, it wants to take action, and it's in a right angle with Jupiter too, which peaks on Tuesday. But this does have some different dynamics. It could tempt you to go for something in a very exuberant way that might not necessarily be good for you. Now, whether it is that steamy clinch, whether it is a get-rich-quick scheme or a side hustle that someone thinks is going to really be a game changer, you are actually aided by the collective in Pisces, which itself reaches an important celestial juncture on Wednesday, because we have two Cazimis in the same day. The first is the Sun applying to Mercury. Well, that happens several times a year. But the Sun applying to Saturn on the same day, just over 12 hours later, that makes this a really rare event. Also, because Mercury is debilitated in Pisces, the precision that Mercury brings through its rulership of Virgo is watered down. So what Saturn brings to the situation is a cold, dispassionate analysis, because for you, Pisces energy is the 6th house. This is where we get into all the details. But this can be a real counterpoint to this more exuberant energy. And if you did, I may have mentioned before, if you did just set yourself some kind of diet plan at the turn of the year with the New Year's resolutions, Venus and Jupiter may well have tempted you sorely over the last week. But I feel that this week you are being minded just to really go through the processes. So if there's some information that you need to read, scrutinise it carefully, drill down into the details. Do be aware of your obligations, because that energy between Venus and Mars is very much about living in the moment, even partying. So if you do that, maybe you're going to find that it does have an impact on your physical health pretty quickly, the 6th house. So it's all about finding balances, Libra. But certainly when Jupiter and Mars are in a square, what it can do is give us an innate belief that if we do go for it and we show self-confidence, that something good can come from it. And perhaps it could. Perhaps that urgent combination could give you that extra slice of confidence to make a move which can pay off for you. But as I mentioned, it will be important just to scrutinise the details very carefully. Now by Sunday there is a quarter moon in the free-spirited Sagittarius. So for you that creates a 3-6 energy, which can create some tension, particularly if you then dive into the Pisces energy to such a degree that you almost try to be too virtuous, and that in itself could see you trying to achieve too much, particularly around the domestic scene, 6th house, by the end of the week. So set yourself some realistic targets when it comes to your priorities about the tasks you want to catch up with. So there can be some fun this week for sure. It could all go all the way to some steamy scenes. It could be that you're going to want to splash some money on something that's a bit lush, but just be aware that a real dose of reality will come from the middle of the week. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Also, if you'd like to ascend above this zodiac forecast and embrace the power of more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of your birth date of time, date and place, or date and place, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will give you searing insights into the patterns that are played out in your life so far. You can get a much more intimate understanding of how these have affected your situation, but how you can work with them more effectively going forwards. In my special package of 30% off, you also get your 12 months transit. That's the moving planets in the sky interacting with your totally unique personal blueprint. Please see the link below for more.